Hello YouTube, it's Sign here with Hobbies of Man once again, and today we're going to be doing another manga review. Today we're going to be looking at Barrage, the completed series. It's only 2 volumes. It's written by Kohei Horikoshi and is published by Viz. You can read it on the Shonen Jump app. So hopefully that means that one day we'll get the Hungry Joker manga that the Black Clover author made. But I don't know. I think Black Clover is just not as popular as My Hero Academia, and so it's very unlikely that we're going to get Tabata Yuki's earlier works, but I hope we can because it would be really cool. But anyway, the demographic for this story is shonen, and the genres here are sci-fi, or it's mostly sci-fantasy more than anything else. It's kind of like Star Wars or, you know, Eden Zero, something like that. And action. It does not have an adaptation, obviously. It's only 2 volumes. There really couldn't be an adaptation of this. Although, I mean, I guess they could make a movie out of it, and it would be kind of fun, but I don't know. I don't think there's enough fans of it to warrant the work for it. So yeah, the premise is basically that there's this prince and pauper situation that occurs between these 2 characters. One of them is called Barrage. He is the prince of Industria, which is the major city in the specific planet out in, you know, the universe, and Astro, who is a boy from the slums. So you can kind of understand what's going on here. So one day, Astro is walking about after work, and he bumps into Barrage, who notices that they look exactly the same. So what happens is that Barrage switches places with Astro and immediately gets murdered. And so Astro now has to take his place as Prince of Industria, and he has to save the kingdom, basically. So it's good. However, it doesn't really manage to reach its full potential because it is cut short very, very fast. So, yeah, I don't know what the state of the Shonen Jump magazine was, and at that point when this story was releasing, because this story could have probably been a really good one. I mean, it's very similar to Eden Zero in premise, and honestly, the way that the system of powers works in this story, I think it would be pretty great. So I don't know. I'm curious to see if, you know, Horikoshi ever comes back to this story, you know, in the future. But I don't know. So the plotline is good. Like I said, Prince and Pauper introduction. Then Astro gets taken into the chambers of the king. They talk. They learn that he is not actually Barrage. And then this other character called Tiamat, who's basically Aizawa, teaches Astro how to fight as they go through a few different missions in order to try to save the kingdom, right? So because the story gets cut short very, very fast, the story ends very, like, abruptly, and basically they finish their missions, and what happens is that, you know, they're like, oh, okay, well, the prince is ready to deal with the coming, you know, horrors of fighting against, you know, these aliens that are invading the planet. And so it ends, and that's basically what happens, right? So yeah, overall, it's good stuff. I actually really, really enjoyed it. I have a very big soft spot for sci-fantasy type stories, especially if they are of this style, so I quite like that. In terms of characters, the 2 important ones are Tiamat, who is the Aizawa teacher character, and Astro. So they basically have a very similar kind of style and relationship that Aizawa and Deku have, you know. So it's basically an older, kind of grizzled guy who doesn't really think that Deku has what it takes at the beginning, and then realizes that, you know, he does have what it takes, and grows to care about this kid as he continues to teach him. So very similar to what happens in My Hero Academia. So yeah, then we have the King of Industria. I can't remember his name, but he's a really old guy. Then there's a bunch of bad guys. So I noticed that some of the important characters have, like, dragon names. So Tiamat is a dragon. I think it's a Jewish mythology. And then there's this other bad guy who's called Kukulkan. Technically, Kukulkan, I guess, is not a dragon, but it is a feathered serpent from Mesoamerican religions. And Kukulkan is basically a dragon, so I thought that was cool. And then there's this bad guy called Tadpole, and this young girl who's actually not a bad guy. She's just kind of like rough around the edges, whose name is Tico, and she's basically the Uraraka of this world, maybe mixed with Hatsume, so there you go. And she's quite fun as a character as well. She has a very sad backstory, and I really wish to have seen more of her and Astro interacting. So, yeah, not that many characters. In terms of world building, this is a space fantasy. This is a planet that basically functions as a country, and there's a bunch of other aliens coming into Industria, into this planet, because they want to take over this rich resource world, or resource-rich world. And in order to do that, they're trying to take this weapon called the Ogre from Barrage, aka Astro, because it allows them to tap into this very powerful weapon, which is basically a fixture of light that allows you to do anything you want. So it's very, very cool. It's very interesting. I quite like it. It's a mythic weapon, basically. And then there's this other magic system that's called the Dark Energy, which is just kind of like dark magic, basically, but it's sci-fi-esque, so it has to be energy. And then there's a bunch of aliens, and these aliens all basically look like quirk people from My Hero Academia, so there you go. In terms of artwork, it's great. I mean, Horikoshi never misses with his artwork. This is a very clearly an older style of artwork. This still feels a lot more rough around the edges, and it doesn't have that very round polish that the new chapters of My Hero Academia have. But it is comparable, I would say, to the earlier chapters of My Hero Academia. In terms of fan service, there's a little bit, but not very much. And in terms of rating, this is a 4 out of 5. I have no issues with it. However, because it is so short, it kind of sucks, because I really wish that it had continued on longer. And so I really couldn't get as much enjoyment out of it as I could get anything else, because just as I was getting into the story ends. And so it kind of sucks in that way. So it's a 4 out of 5. It just can't ever reach that 5 out of 5 for me, because it's not, there yet, right? So yeah, it's enjoyable, but it's not really that great, because it doesn't ever manage to close off. So there you go. That's all I have to say about this story. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. And thank you guys very much for watching. See you guys later.